one of the co-founders of Hummingbot, and really glad to do this info session and explain all about Botcamp Cohort 12 for everyone. So Cohort 12 will be starting in September. It's a 1 month long intensive bootcamp aimed at training the next generation of crypto market makers and algo traders. First, let's go into how a Botcamp cohort actually works. So Botcamp is the official training and certification program for Hummingbot. I'm one of the co-founders of Hummingbot. The team that runs Hummingbot also supports Botcamp as well. Hummingbot has become, over the years, one of the leading open source frameworks for crypto market making and algo trading. It was launched over 6 years ago in 2019. It's always connected to all types of exchanges, both centralized and decentralized, and offered strategy templates like market making and arbitrage that allow people to kind of define a strategy, but then add their own parameters. Basically allows you to control everything about it. It's open source, and you deploy it on your infrastructure, whether it's a local machine or on the cloud, and it doesn't expose any of your kind of like private keys or API keys to the world. Today, Hummingbot, we see about 5 billion every 3 months of trading volume, and this is probably not just the code base, the official code base, but many forks of it. So we see kind of continually lots of exchanges that are represented in activity that were not built by us. So a lot of these were connectors built using the same standard, and then people use the same engine and add their own connectors into it. And typically we see about 21,000 active instances every few months, both large and very small as well. One note is that we publish a public dashboard of real-time volumes. You can access a link through our website, and that tries to give the community more transparency into which exchanges people are running Hummingbot on, just generally the activity that's happening across the ecosystem. Over the years, I do think Hummingbot has grown into the largest community of market makers in crypto. Discord is probably the hub. We have over about 18,000 members on our Discord, 14K on our YouTube, where we do weekly live streams that showcase the newest features that we add to Hummingbot. Of course, on GitHub, we have about 14K stars, lots of forks. And over the years, we do see that people are starting to use Hummingbot as an alternative to hiring a market maker and serving kind of the exchange requirements themselves using the Hummingbot software. Our goal for Hummingbot is really to continue building a sustainable open source ecosystem. That's actually why we launched Botcamp a couple years ago, because by itself, Hummingbot is simply just a nonprofit open source foundation. When we first created the foundation in 2022, the first couple years it was struggling. It was the exchange fee share agreements and sponsorships by themselves. Were barely covering kind of like the ability to kind of like maintain the team, and it wasn't really allowing to grow really. And so when we added Botcamp, I think at the end of 2022, it's allowed us to kind of really, number one, train the community, access the full power of the framework, but also provided a new revenue source that has, basically these entities allow us to really focus on growing Hummingbot and allow us to, do things like create the API, for example, and extend the reach of Hummingbot to new places. The way Botcamp cohorts work is that, we're doing our 12th cohort in September. The first couple of years we were doing like 4 to 5 a year because we want to really focus on Hummingbot engineering. We've slowed down to doing 2 a year now, but I think it's also allowed us to kind of like have larger cohorts and hopefully deliver a better experience for the people taking the cohort. So in the last cohort, we had 33 people, I think, take cohort 11. I think 30 to 40, the right target number for each cohort, because it allows us to provide some level of personalized attention to each student. And 30 to 40, we find that teams form more naturally, where like a trader and a developer will team up and work on a strategy together. And so that's why in the last cohort, of the 33 students, 15 of them got certified which was like kind of like a really good ratio, based on the past. Obviously, and to get certified, because you have to actually create your own strategy on demo day. Not everyone completes it, but if you don't, you can always kind of do that in the future and submit your strategy, and you can get certified at a future demo day. Yeah, overall, the Cohort structure, it's a 4-week live online bootcamp. So there's 13 sessions. So basically there's 4 sessions in week 1, 4 sessions week 2, 4 office hour sessions in week 3, 1 final demo day session in week 4. For those who submit their strategies and submit their presentation videos, we validate them and kind of like approve them to be submitted on demo day. And basically we check that they actually are, actually kind of creating something new. But overall, once that happens, those students are certified. They're added to the certifications list. They get a certification NFT, and we have a channel on Discord. Only certified students can join, and we try to present kind of like opportunities that firms want to hire folks for that community exclusively. If you sign up for Botcamp, it also includes access to our courses. We have 4 courses that cover the basics of market making, algo trading. Each one has about 4 hours of instruction and theory, along with a few coding challenges that test your ability to actually learn the content. So these courses are included for the cohort participants. So basically, once you join the cohort, we'll give you access to the online courses, as well as, I should mention, recordings of the past cohort. So you can already kind of like start to digest the content as soon as you join, even when the cohort hasn't started yet. The instructors will be myself and Fede, the CTO of Hummingbot. So you're really learning from the folks who are kind of building Hummingbot itself. And we hope anyone taking Botcamp to feel by the end of it that they can leverage the full extent of the framework. What kind of people take Botcamp? I think this is a question that we always try to answer, because we want to try to make sure that everyone who's paying tuition, which is $2,000 for early bird, $3,000 for non-early bird, we want to make sure they actually get a lot of value out of the program. In the past cohort, for example, we saw folks from market makers like Yellow Capital and Lucex take Botcamp. So in their demo day videos, they actually kind of have the links to their respective firms. And I think we always see kind of from every cohort a sizable contingent from market makers themselves. From kind of more established market makers who are sending more of their new or junior employees, basically as a training program for them to get up to speed on the basics of market making, and actually be able to run a market making bot and use it in a short time. And we also see folks who are starting market making firms take Botcamp as a way to really kind of quickly get up to speed and also hire some of the other folks in the cohort. The second large contingent of kind of types of people we see taking Botcamp are the token issuer themselves. So recently we had Christoph, who launched the Buy token, and then in the past we had Helen from Amaze Wallet and a few other token issuers as well. Basically, and I think as I mentioned before, a lot of these folks have their token is on a deck somewhere, and maybe they got newly listed on a SEX, and they're trying to make sure that the token on the SEX has enough liquidity, it's tracking the price in the DEX, or vice versa. And this is basically what market makers do. I do think for smaller token issuers, it's a lot more efficient. It's a lot cheaper to take Botcamp, learn how to do it yourself, and then really own that process instead of continually paying thousands a month to a market maker. Yeah, let me answer a question from Panda Go. Panda asks, just wondering how many trainees actually get hired by employers later on. Yeah, actually, I would say one of the main reasons why individual algo traders take Botcamp is for job opportunities later on. A number of the market makers in the community have hired Botcamp graduates. I think in the last cohort, Stan got a job with, I think, Influx. I think in the past, Jackie got a job with Coin Alpha. As a preview, we're going to make this a lot easier in the very near future, because we're getting a continual stream of inquiries from people who are looking to hire qualified Hummingbot developers. Our Dev MM Wanted channel is getting very active. We're actually going to make this very much easier for Botcamp graduates in the future with profiles. So if you take a Botcamp cohort, either Cohort 12 or in the past, you'll be able to create your own profile. You can edit. We'll have a process where you can control exactly what you want to show, and then that'll be in a directory we make available to firms who want to hire folks from the community. Outside placement, I think the other goal we have for Botcamp is really just to create a community, Hummingbot community, which is expanding. We try to have Botcamp kind of be like almost like a subset of that. So there are dedicated channels for Botcamp graduates. We try to organize, like we've done just a couple meetups, pretty much informal. But I think as the community grows, we actually might try to formalize it a bit more, where we try to have like a meetup every year, hopefully for the folks who want to be involved. Overall, the goal of Botcamp is really to allow you to learn to build and design the types of custom algo trading strategies that you want. Because I think for a lot of people, they have some idea for some type of strategy they think they might work, but they're not sure how to implement that. And I think with Botcamp, we teach you not only how to basically engineer the strategy, but how to design it. We provide feedback during office hours. So before we proceed, I want to play a quick clip from Cohort 11, showing an example of a strategy Cohort student built.
Hi, I'm Jonathan, and with Cohort 11, and so I'm here today to talk to you about my strategy, which is called Hedge Doge. The goal of Hedge Doge is it's designed to participate in sort of early price discovery of tokens on the Solana network, and that's a really fancy way of saying meme coins. I looked at a bunch of the other strategies that we had, and we didn't really have any strategies from any of the other cohorts that captured this, so I thought this would be interesting. I shamelessly stole this slide from Mike, so I hope he's smiling now and not frowning. But the token liquidity maturation curve is something that he has talked about in a bunch of our sessions. They start out, these meme coins or the new coins, the tokens start out on private bonding curve networks, right? And then if they're successful, if they get enough liquidity, enough trading, they graduate to this AMM. And there's a bunch of different dexes that provide these, but we're going to be focusing on Radium for this particular example. And then if they continue, they might make it to a CLMM or CLAM, and then eventually they'll make it up to sort of a CLOB, a normal order book exchange, if they make it big. So what we're looking at is we're focusing on the intersection of this bonding curve and the graduation of tokens to a Radium pool or an AMM pool. And really the key for this strategy, or the hypothesis of this strategy, is that there's not a good way to hedge these tokens, but what we can do is we can use part of the value or the fees that are generated through depositing liquidity in the same liquidity pool that the tokens are stored in. We can use that, or those fees, as a hedge against sort of like a price decline in sort of the base asset. So basically the hedge Doge strategy works like this. We start out with just SOL, and we're going to immediately swap for a token. And then we're going to take that token, and based on what we're calling a YOLO factor, where kind of 0 is no hedging at all and 1 is 100% hedge, we're going to take part of that token and we're going to deposit that in an AMM liquidity pool. And then at that point, so if you look here at our logic graph, we're up to here. We've completed the swap. We've completed the liquidity deposit. We're going to sit here. We're going to listen for some sort of signals. Now, the signals could be, scroll down here, the signals could be a volume in the liquidity pool. They could be trades. They could be liquidity over time of the pool, or they could be price. And based on that, then we will move to a liquidate phase when it feels right for the strategy, and we'll remove that liquidity from the liquidity pool. And then we'll go ahead and sell off the token that we acquired back here in the swap phase, and we'll end up at the complete phase, hopefully with more SOL than we started.
I stopped this video because I want to explain a bit kind of what Johnson was doing here. So what he's editing is this Notion template, is something that we teach people in Botcamp to edit. It's in this database. It's only made available to people who are in the cohort. essentially has a structured way for you to create your strategy. So it says you define what the inputs are, you define what should be shown in the status, and you define basically the logic of the strategy. This flowchart is going to define exactly how the strategy works. And when Hummingbot runs every tick, it's going to execute the loop throughout that time. Let me continue playing now, and this will show you the actual strategy that Jonathan built here.
Okay, it's time for a demo. To start with, we have a custom generator, and we're going to use this to generate the configuration for our hedge doge. We're going to pass it just a token. In this case, we're going to use the Farcoin token. It's going to reach out to a bunch of services. It's going to grab the correct Radium AMM pool so that we can deposit our liquidity. It's going to start and stop the gateway, and while it does that, it's going to make sure that the gateway has the proper token information for the token that we're swapping. Here in this case, we're talking about these coins are brand new, so you're always going to have to refresh the gateway, make sure that everything is ready to go. You can see that you can see the information that we've generated. We have our pool address. We have the amount of USDC that we're going to use, which is just 50 cents. We've got our YOLO factor of 0.5. This means that we'll keep half of the token that we swap for, and then we'll use the other half to deposit that as a hedge into our AMM liquidity pool. Now we're going to go ahead and start up the strategy. And we have a little bit of a countdown at the beginning. That way we can sort of double check since we're kind of pulling these strategies live from the world. We're going to make sure that they're good. The first thing this is going to do, it's going to go swap for some of this token since we don't have anything at all. And let's see, it should start here in just a second. All right, it's doing the swap. After it's done swapping, it should immediately try to deposit some of that into the AMM and give us an AMM position. So it looks like it's working on that. It looks like we're just about done. All right, and we've got our AMM position.
Then if you watch the rest of the video, Jonathan explains more about how he formulated the strategy, challenges he encountered in creating it, and so forth. One note is that Gateway will be much easier to use for folks taking Botcamp Cohort 12 than it was in 11 when Jonathan took it, because a lot of the refactor that was still ongoing when Gateway, when Jonathan took it back in April, was now complete. The folks in Cohort 12 should have a much easier experience coding up strategies that are designed to work on Solana dexes than before. But I think this is a good example of kind of like what you can learn in a Botcamp cohort. So basically Jonathan, he already had it like a formulation for what he wanted to build, but what he learned was how to kind of properly structure a strategy, how to kind of turn it into this logical construct using the design template, and then in Hummingbot how to turn that design into a running strategy that he can then build on himself. Overall, our goal with Botcamp Cohort is to allow people to kind of go through the process, learn that, and then end up with this demo day video, as well as certification that will help them, either personally or in their career. I hope you have a good understanding of how a cohort works and what you'll learn. Let me delve more into what's new in Cohort 12 and why we think Cohort 12 will be the best one yet. So the first thing is that we've been busy making a few key technical improvements to Hummingbot. The first is the Hummingbot API. So the API was just launched in version 2.7, which recently came out, and it's really a new command center that changes how you can deploy and manage trading strategies. It's like a private server that you can control and launch bots from. You can fetch data. You can also do direct trading and place orders from it. And the way I would describe it for those of you who have like a trading background is really an OEMS. It's an order and execution management system, but one that's free, open source, and one that you can customize however you want. So I think there's a session called Running Hummingbot in Production that it's catered to teaching you how to use the API and how to deploy your strategies using this. And the second thing that you'll be able to use is Gateway. So for the past about 6 months, Gateway has been undergoing a large refactor, kind of stripping out a lot of the old architecture, adding things like Solana DEX integration, hardware wallet support, and new architecture that's better designed to kind of scale to more dexes, and as well as even new kind of protocols like lending and bridging in the future. So that refactor is pretty much complete. So Gateway in 2.8, which will be released in August before the cohort starts, that will basically add all this stuff. So I think with cohort 12 starting in September, people will be able to use all this new stuff. Let me answer a question from Madhava. Can you bring order book imbalance scalping strategy? Yeah, actually, there's actually been a number of scalping strategies that people have built. So I think that, yeah, I can think of like 3 or 4 off the top of my head. I think if you look at the past demo day playlist, the cohort 11 one, I believe there's a number of kind of like, scalping, like perpetual exchange based, highly levered strategies that are basically scalping. But I think my overall kind of like answer would be that I think Hummingbot can basically build any strategy that you want, because it has integrations to both sexes and dexes. It can automate any type of process, and so I think a strategy is really kind of any type of repeated process that you want to implement. So whether it's scalping or like liquidity provision or liquidations, arbitrage, market making, I think you can distill all these strategies into basically a process where you're fetching data, you're making some type of decision, and then you're placing or canceling orders on an exchange. And so what we try to teach you in Botcamp is how to think about that strategy from a logical, like how to distill strategy into these logical components, design it, and then implement it in Hummingbot. So the other kind of thing we want to build is something that matches people taking Botcamp to kind of like folks who are looking to hire good Hummingbot developers. Because we have this dev wanted channel, so I post some of the things we posted there. But overall, we've seen an influx of firms and exchanges and just overall people who are looking for help building connectors, building strategies, and also hiring folks who can use Hummingbot and who are kind of like proficient in Hummingbot. So obviously the certification list helps, but we wanted to make that even better. And so we've been thinking, like, how do we actually make it easy for firms to find the best Botcamp graduates and hire them based on expertise. So our idea is to start something called Botcamp member profiles. So this will be open to anyone who's taken a cohort, including cohort 12 and anyone in the past. But we'll have a process where you can basically add to your profile that's available on the Botcamp website. So it'll have your which Botcamp cohorts you've taken, whether you're certified or not, your demo day presentation video, as well as links to your strategy code if you want. And we'll also allow you to add your social links like GitHub and LinkedIn as well. We're still working on exactly what this will look like, but basically what we envision is essentially there'll be a process where you can kind of like say, I want to be included in the directory, and something where you can kind of edit the profile itself and control what it displays. We'll basically provide this directory and make it available to any firm that's looking to hire folks in Botcamp. And I think it'll make it much easier for folks to kind of really showcase what they built in Botcamp and hopefully get more career opportunities that way. Open up the Botcamp website and you can go to botcamp.xyz/cohorts, kind of give you guys a bit more detail into the specific agenda for this cohort. So the actual first date is Tuesday, September 1st, but the week before, we're gonna have a pre-work week where folks can, introduce themselves to other participants on Discord, and we encourage people to basically go through the first course that's part of Botcamp and get everything installed. So installing Hummingbot, installing the API, dashboard, gateway, everything else they need. Our team will be there to help you make sure that you have what you need to hit the ground running in week one. Week one, we do 4 sessions. Each session is basically Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. They're led either by me or Fede, the Hummingbot CTO. So and we kind of start with kind of the theory, what is market making, how do market makers make money, what risks are they taking, as well as the basic strategies. The second session, Fede will go into the architecture of Hummingbot, how it works from the ground up, and what you can do with it. And then as the week goes on, we'll split the theory sessions versus the technical sessions and really make sure that by the end of week one, students have a really solid understanding of market making from a theoretical perspective, as well as from a practical hands-on perspective using Hummingbot. And then week one ends with homework. The homework is to actually go and kind of complete the rest of the courses, use Hummingbot to launch and deploy a market making strategy of your own. Answer one question from Panda Go. He asks, would it make sense for a developer, C++ and Python, without too much experience in crypto to join? Will there be a sharp learning curve because of that? We've had a lot of experience from folks like that with that kind of background. Actually, someone named Alex, who I think had a very similar background to you. I think he was an engineer at Apple. He learned a lot of the basics with Hummingbot. The first week should really help you get up to speed. And I think the learning curve does ramp up in week 2, however, because that's when we get into more advanced techniques. But usually we found it's actually easier for a developer to take Botcamp and have success with it, rather than someone with no technical ability whatsoever, to take Botcamp, because Botcamp is aimed at more technical people who are kind of like, at the very least, command line savvy, and ideally Python proficient, actually. In order to do a lot of the customizations that you're going to need to do to be successful in a competitive market making environment, I think having some ability to code is important. So on the second week, we're going to get more into running Hummingbot in production, using the new API, basically customize however you want to run it. Week 3, we actually try to provide office hours. So office hours are where we provide basically more of a technical wrap up. Fede on the Hummingbot side, so he's going to cover folks who really want to do something custom with the API or with Hummingbot, and myself on the gateway side. So if you're doing something customized with gateway during the first office hour in each week, we'll try to help those of you who are kind of like really looking for custom assistance with these parts of the code base. And then we'll do 2 more office hours in the final week. In the third week, we try to help people finish their strategies and present it on demo day. And then the final session is demo day, which will occur on the 30th of September this time. And really, demo day is a culmination of what you'll learn in the cohort. We have a little voting round. We try to give everyone a chance to vote for the MVP. And so afterwards, we basically create an NFT for anyone who is certified, as well as a special MVP NFT for the cohort winner. If you have more questions about this, you can also chat in Telegram with our team. So we'll send out discount codes to course purchasers and cohort purchasers in the past, because we want to encourage people to take multiple cohorts, especially since this new one has a lot of new material that the old ones did not have. And we also offer discounts for teams. So for teams, the way it works is that if you have 3 more people, the third person is basically free. Buy 2, get 1 free, the deal for teams. I hope that gives you a solid understanding of what we're doing in Cohort 12. One thing that we're really excited about is integration, different kind of LMs. My partner Fede actually had recently posted a tweet to show you guys what's possible with Hummingbot and what you can learn with Hummingbot in the near future. He's using a test MCP server. It's called Hummingbot MCP Docker. So this is basically is connecting to the API and kind of allowing you to control kind of like trading strategies from Claude or from any type of AI interface. And what it's really doing is kind of leveraging all the different endpoints that the API makes available, but it's using tools, and so you can control them using very simple words, and you don't have to know exactly how the API endpoints are structured. So, and I think the power of it is really the ability to access information across multiple exchanges and access them at the same time. Like this kind of thing, fetching prices across multiple exchanges. So now you can do something with it. in this cohort, it's kind of what you'll be able to learn, because obviously with technology improving, we want to leverage that. And with Hummingbot, the reason we've spent so much effort into refactoring Hummingbot and Gateway and making the APIs more structured, more bits better, is that we think that's probably the most important thing we can do to prepare for a future where AIs like this through MCP have full access to all these APIs and can help the user get done wherever they want to get done. What Fade is showing here is the ability to just ask questions to the agent basically, the MCP Docker agent, and just kind of like get it to do stuff for you, like open shorts, query for data, and basically access any endpoint that's available in the API. Okay, all right. Thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you